This is a guide on how to beat the 9 Easter eggs solo on the realistic difficulty. I will assume that you have completed this before on normal difficulty, so I won't explain every step in detail. Before starting your game, I recommend that you beat the Voyage to Despair Easter egg on normal mode to gain the Free Doors perk, as this will help a lot with the early game setup. Here is a picture of the setup that I am using for this game. PHC Slider allows you to safely use the rocket launcher. Some talismans to consider using are the Battered Dragon Scale, the Major Reinforced Charm, and the Glowing Phylactery. Some other useful elixirs are Shields Up, Undead Man Walking, Suit Up, and Refreshment. As soon as you spawn in, you will want to begin to complete some of the challenges. Depending on the challenges you get, it is possible to get the Pack-a-Punch Strife on round 1. If you are unlucky with the challenges, then you should open up the map, craft the shield, and then ring the gongs. However, if you have the Pack-a-Punch Strife, then you should be able to safely kill the champions at each gong. When you have all 4 heads, you should go and open the Pack-a-Punch, pick up the pieces for the Acid Trap, and then pick up the head for the free Wonder Weapon Easter egg. You should then find the skull with the blue icon on it and dislodge it using your specialist weapon. This step should be very easy to do on round 1. Finally, make sure that you have the Victorious Tortoise perk before ending the round. Your goal for the next few rounds should be to buy all the perks as well as getting the gift from Saket. If you need to do the melee kills challenge on round 2, then the safest way to do this is by using the knife attachment on the Vapor. When you have all the components for the Acid Trap, you should build it and melt the statue head as soon as possible so you can progress on getting the gift from Saket. The safest area to train in is the spawn room, but be aware that on round 4 the fire will appear on the ground, and this will continue to occur at every even round afterwards. On the screen I will show all possible cases for the fire spawns. The first case is having 2 adjacent fires active. This one is good because active fires will be static, which effectively gives you a large area to train. The green loop indicates a typical route that I take. The second case is having 2 active fires which alternate between this set and this set. When the fires are behaving like this, you can either train in the bottom area, the top area, or you can do a figure 8 loop which involves crossing over the challenge podium. However, sometimes a zombie may block your path. The final case is having all 4 fires active. The training routes that I recommend you should use are identical to the previous case. However, if you are not comfortable training in the spawn, you can also train by the Ra or Danu perk. As long as you maintain maximum affinity for a couple of rounds, you should eventually receive the gift from Saket. Once you have received it, go down to this area and place it down. You should avoid picking it back up until a point which I will specify later in the guide. While you are burning through the rounds, you should try to get the Wonder Weapon, the Rocket Launcher and the Homunculus from the box. After the recent update to the box, it should be easier to get these weapons at a reasonably low round. Once you have the Rocket Launcher, you should go to the spawn and fire rockets into the crowd. This will lower your affinity, and once you reach the lowest affinity, you should receive poop from the crowd, which is needed for the Easter egg. Eventually, a gladiator should spawn into the game. For example, in my game, a gladiator spawned in on round 10. If you want to be safe, you should kill all zombies except for the gladiator, and when it is the end of the round, get the gladiator to break off a chunk of wood. However, in my game, I just did it mid-round as I was confident that I could survive. Once you have picked up the wood, you should place it down over the large fire cauldron so that it can start to burn. While it is burning, you should grind down the skull into dust if you have the Wonder Weapon. While the wood is burning, I recommend that you get a low damage gun such as the ICR and try to get Firebomb on it. I also recommend that you try to get Kilowatt on the Rocket Launcher as it is needed for a future step. After roughly 3 rounds, the wood should be ready to be picked up. You should then go and place down the fertilizer inside the bowl at the Zeus temple. After a couple of rounds, you should be able to pick up the fertilizer and place it in the Danu area. When the fertilizer turns green again, you can proceed with the next step. The safest way to approach this step is to throw a homunculus where I do, which will cause some of the zombies to run over the fertilizer, which gives you an opportunity to kill them with a firebomb effect. You will then want to stand on top of the fertilizer for around 10 seconds to be teleported to the first challenge. In my game I was lucky enough to get a nuke, but you'll probably have to throw a second homunculus. If you don't have any homunculuses available, you should use an equipment. The safest way to do this step is to throw a homunculus before attacking the red thing with a rocket launcher. If you stand close to the red thing, then the explosions from the rockets will also kill any zombies which are close to you, which further reduces the risk. Once the step is complete, feel free to get the Wonder Weapon from the box using the gift from Saket. You should then find the 4 bullheads and kill the gladiators at spawn. If you want to be super safe, you can save 1 zombie and do the step at the end of the round. Once you have killed all 4 gladiators, you can go and do the Ra step. For this step there is no clever technique, but one small tip I can give is that the special zombies have a large variation in movement speeds. For example, the lightning zombie will stop to do his blinding attack, whereas a plague zombie will just constantly follow you. Therefore it is easy to separate these zombie types by running down the stairs to the bottom floor, which allows you to easily kill the correct zombie type without accidentally killing another.
Okay, I no longer feel sorry for these strife horrors. The angry ones will die by hating against my forest. Always rushing in kind, leaving bodies in their wake. That is my brothers. Only a coward has such.
After finishing the Ra step, I recommend that you save one zombie at the end of the round before doing the Zeus screws step. However, if you are confident, feel free to do it mid-round as it is not too difficult to survive. At this point you should have kilowatt on your rocket launcher. The easiest way to do the next step is by killing gladiators and brawlers inside of the circles with the rocket launcher, as each pylon only requires 2 gladiator kills to be fully charged. Remember that you can use a homunculus to safely lure the gladiators and brawlers inside the circle. Another thing to keep in mind is that from round 21 onwards the rocket launcher is no longer a one-hit kill for normal zombies, so it is actually possible for kilowatt to activate on normal zombies. When all 4 pylons are done, interact with one of the blue orbs on the challenge podium to begin the next step. Initially the spawn rate of the special zombies will be low, so it should be easy for you to kill them. However, as the step progresses, the spawn rate will become extremely high. I recommend that you use a blood debt elixir around halfway through the step so that you can minimise risk. However, if you don't have a blood debt available, it will probably be safer to just use a rocket launcher. After completing the Zeus step, you should save a zombie so that you can start the Odin step. On the screen I will show the correct angle for each set of symbols. Once you have done all 3 sets of symbols, you should stand in this area for about 10 seconds so that you can start the lockdown sequence. If it is mid-round, then you should throw a homunculus far away from you to minimise risk. For this step I recommend that you sit near the shield bench and spam charge shots from the wonder weapon so that you can crowd control the zombies. At certain points during the lockdown, a lot of special zombies will spawn, for example tigers. When this happens, you can easily one-shot them all using the rocket launcher. If at any point you start to get overwhelmed, then feel free to use your specialist weapon. For example, you can see on the screen that there are a lot of fire zombies in the room, which are very tanky, so using the range attack on the hammer was the best option here. Since you also receive a max ammo at the end of each wave, you are able to frequently throw homunculuses. For example, here I used a homunculus when a lot of plague zombies spawned in, as they are quite tricky to kill. When you are on the 3rd wave, a Blightfather will spawn towards the end of it. I recommend that you save one homunculus for the Blightfather so that you can safely kill it. Once the step is over, pick up the key. If you used any elixirs this round, then I recommend that you get to the next round before starting the boss fight, so that you have all the elixirs available. The first part of the boss fight is very easy, as you can just one-hit all of the gladiators with the rocket launcher. Also, since a lot of max ammos drop during the boss fight, feel free to spam homunculuses on the ground. Another tip I can give is that the gladiator's range attack does 0 damage to the shield, so therefore you can be completely immune from damage while you have your shield out.
Final challenge, begin. You insult me with these orders.
When the first elephant appears, you should stand where I am standing and charge up a homunculus throw, and as the elephant is charging towards you, throw the homunculus. As the elephant is charging at you, you should be able to spam rocket launcher shots into its weak spot and very quickly break its armour. Just be aware of the spears that are being thrown, you can use the pillar to avoid them. Once the armour is broken, you should be able to freely spam the elephant with the rocket launcher. Make sure that there is always a homunculus on the ground, and try to aim for his weak spots to quickly kill him. Also try to avoid standing in front of his face, because sometimes he can do a frontal cone ranged attack which will instantly kill you. The strategy for the second elephant is identical to the first elephant. If you haven't used a blood debt elixir yet, then I recommend that you use one during this phase in order to minimise risk. I hope that you found my guide to be useful. Thank you for watching and have a good day.